It's been a while since I've done a rumination from the big chair, and I thought it was well beyond time. I've been absorbed in a bunch of things, including working on a master's which looks at change, how organisations change or don't. And in the process, I did some research around a topic which had been intriguing me more and more over time. And I wondered if I thought I'd share it with everybody and see if there were some views out there that might be helpful. Having worked with law firms for more than 3 decades now, the message that I'd been hearing over time and giving over time as somebody on the sales side has long been law firms are undergoing change, clients are becoming more demanding. We need to, and the environment is starting to reach a point where we need to start to work differently. Three some decades down the track, that message is still pretty much the same. Law firms have definitely made changes, but in the last, it feels like 5 years, but it's maybe more, there's been a rising tide of activity around innovation. And I'm sure you've all seen it. We've been to events, there are groups that talk about it, there are people on social media chewing this over. There are now chief innovation officers in law firms. There are consulting groups teaching law firms how to innovate. But every time I sat down and spoke with people within the firms and also in the ecosystem around them, clients, vendors, consultants, there was this mismatch. And I was beginning to find that increasingly strange. And the mismatch is, I think it comes back to that phrase we keep hearing. How do you tell a room full of millionaires that they need to change? It's something I heard a long time ago. Charles Christian said it way back, but that's still pretty much the same. Despite all of the innovation activity, despite the desire of law firms to want to think differently about how they show up in the future, still, when you sort of get under the covers of a firm, what I tend to hear is we can do lots of stuff, but we tend to find it's very hard to try and make the core legal teams actually change. And that really goes right up to the ownership tier in a practice. So I don't think this is something that's being done deliberately. It's not that firms are actively rejecting this activity. I think something else is up. And that's really what I've been looking at. So I'm going to try and construct my findings into something consumable and to share that with you all and get your thoughts.